Coming up next on the Couch Brotato podcast, it's the After Christmas special, Die Hard.
They have already killed one hostage.
This channel is reserved for emergency calls only.
Do I sound like I'm ordering a pizza?
High above L.A., a team of terrorists have seized a building.
Oh.
They're ready for anything except a New York cop trapped inside.
Come on to the coast. We get together. Have a few laughs.
Bruce Willis, Die Hard.
But all things being equal, I'd rather be in Philadelphia.
Rated R. Now playing in selected cities. Starts Wednesday, July 20th at theaters everywhere.
All right. Well, it looks like we're ready to try out our new format, the much shorter episodes. Lucas, how you feeling about this?
I'm feeling pretty good about the new format. I think, knowing some of the people that I know that listen to our show, they don't necessarily watch the movie while listening to us. So I figure, and you figured, let's try something different.
Yeah. I mean, it can't be much worse than we've already put out, right?
I would hope not. But hey, there could always be worse.
Yeah, I mean, I think this episode that we're getting ready to do is a little on the curse side. This is the fourth attempt now to put this out?
Yeah, it's been quite a few, between audio issues and, as you know, and some people know, I'm battling COVID-19 and it's trying to kill me. So it's been rough.
Well, damn, I wasn't trying to throw that out there. I mean, if you didn't want to do it, just say you didn't want to do it. I mean, I will take that easier than you going out and getting sick.
Yeah. I was just like, I wonder what COVID's like. Let me go catch that real quick.
And then I tried to do this with my son, and he's the one who pointed out to me that him and I had been watching the movie for over an hour, and it wasn't even recording.
That's just good quality family time, in my opinion.
Yeah. I personally think he just he was going to try to throw yippee-ki-yay motherfucker on the recording. I almost feel it.
That would have honestly been our best episode ever, just for that simple fact.
Yeah, I mean, as a parent, I would have been, dude, you can't say that, but inside, man, that's so awesome.
One of those proud father moments.
Yeah. Then I tried to do this solo, and I listened to man, this sucks. I can't do this by myself. Well,
hey, I apologize. I wish I could have been there, helping you out. Just like I said, COVID is no joke. It's the worst thing I've ever experienced. So.
Well, I speak for everybody listening, and we're glad you're on the mend and you're able to get back in the saddle tonight. I'm especially happy to hear you're doing better.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm happy I'm doing better too.
I would imagine. I would be a little baffled if you said, you know what, I wish I were feeling worse.
What's wrong with that fucking guy over there?
Yeah, it's man, this isn't hitting me hard enough. Well, I guess we'll let everybody know we're doing Die Hard. This was supposed to come out on Christmas Day. We had issues. Tried to fix it in editing, and it sounded like shit. You actually sound like you're reading the newspaper while we're doing it. And Adam sounds like our producer Adam was supposed to be on this too, and it sounded like we were recording him inside of a cave.
Interesting. Well, I was reading, so was I reading anything interesting in the newspaper?
I don't know if you're reading the classified ads or perhaps, I don't know, maybe, like the sports, the sports page, not so much the articles, but maybe the scoreboard. Maybe you're curious to see how the Bulls did. I don't know.
So for any young viewers who don't know, newspaper used to be the way that you got your news. Usually the next day you found out about all the shit. It wasn't instant.
Right, and if you watched it on TV, you could you usually only watched it at 6 o'clock or maybe at 11. It wasn't I'm going to see what's going on, and flip it to CNN, and it's just constantly going.
Right, it wasn't Twitter where it tells you everything up to the second.
Which that makes me wonder how, if this were a real event, how this would play out on CB or CNN or Fox News or MSNBC or.
I feel like it would take probably a week for everybody to really find out on, say, like the East Coast. Maybe the West Coast they would know in a few days, but
right.
the East Coast would be a couple weeks maybe.
Mm-hmm. But now, like, it would have been like, oh, well, there's some shit going on in Nakatomi like 5 minutes after it went down.
Right.
Well, like, we are changing it up, but we are keeping some things the same, such as the world beloved, award-winning Tale of the Tape. We've won awards for this. I haven't gotten them in the mail yet, but we've won some awards. I feel it.
They're awards in people's hearts.
Yeah, it's beloved. Like, I think there's even T-shirts being made as we speak by some of our fans.
I would hope so.
Well, I'm not banking on it, but
I'm not either. But I would hope. I literally hope so.
Feel free, shoot us an email. Tell us where you want to. You're going to send them. We'll tell you where to send them. We would love to have a Tale of the Tape T-shirt. Die Hard was released on July the 15th, 1988. The same day or the same weekend as one of my personal favorites, Midnight Run, with Charles Grodin and Robert De Niro. That would have been a cool time to. That would have been one of those weekends where, like, as a kid, I just would have spent it at the movie theater.
I just miss spending time at the movie theater. I'm running through with my girlfriend and her kid on all the Marvel movies. We're up to Doctor Strange, and I was telling them, like, the end credit scenes, you had to sit through all that shit. It wasn't, fast forward and get to all that. So you're sitting in the theater for 20 minutes waiting for those extra scenes, and I just miss that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your movie-going experience has been a little different than mine. I've been running through, like I just watched Heat last night for the first time in I'd say almost a year.
It's a good movie.
It is.
I seen that when we used to, kind of illegally have HBO back in in the early 90s.
There's no such thing as illegal HBO. You're just borrowing it from the cable company.
Yeah, we were borrowing. Correct.
But yeah, like, that would have been a cool time to go to the movie theaters for sure.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes score 94%. That's, I think, for an action movie, is pretty good.
Yeah, because action movies kind of like comedies are subjective. So.
Mm-hmm. This stars Bruce Willis, of course, Alan Rickman, Bonnie Bedelia, and Reginald Vell Johnson, who some of you may remember as Carl Winslow in Family Matters.
Russ, that show was amazing, right? Can we agree on that?
That was a good show. Like, I remember they used to have that block of comedies on ABC Friday nights. It was Family Matters, Step by Step, Boy Meets World, and I know when it first started, there was a show called Perfect Strangers. I don't know what they replaced it with, but
I don't remember that one. So
I'm sure he probably got Carl Winslow because of this movie.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
This one was directed by John McTiernan, who actually sandwiched Die Hard in between Predator in 1987, and then he followed up Die Hard with The Hunt for Red October.
Oh, damn. So this guy's a heavy hitter.
Yeah, I think that for, like, at least a 3-movie stretch, like, I don't know of too many guys that can, like, top that.
It is a good stretch.
Maybe James Cameron, because I think he did Terminator, Aliens, and then The Abyss. That's a pretty good run.
I don't know The Abyss.
But, The Abyss is really cool. It's about some deep-sea divers. It's got Ed Harris and Michael Biehn.
Oh.
It's really hard to find. Who doesn't? It's really hard to find, though, on like the streaming sites. Like, I don't think I've ever seen, like, anybody that has it available to stream right now.
Huh.
The budget was $25 million, and it brought home 83 here in the States, so pretty successful.
I'd say so.
Well, I'm sure it's probably made a shit ton more through, like, DVD, Blu-ray, being on cable. So,
well, I don't know about everybody, but they should do this, watching it on Christmas, because it is a Christmas movie.
Yep. And that actually will lead me to our first topic is, do you think this is a Christmas movie?
Absolutely.
I know when I posted that we were doing this on our social media page, we had a particular fan. Well, he's not a fan anymore. He says he quit following the show, but that's neither here or there.
Right. He did not agree.
He was in the it's not a Christmas movie camp. And I mean, he has a very compelling argument on why. He said that even though it takes place during Christmas, isn't about Christmas. It's about a terrorist attack in a building, which it kind of makes sense. I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess it does. It has a valid point because but it really depends on your definition of a Christmas movie, though.
But I mean, I'm going to steal this fact from producer Adam. Sorry, Adam. But he said that this movie mentions Christmas like 17 times, I think he said. Mm-hmm. So it does that. I mean, the bad guys say ho, ho, ho in it. Takes place during Christmas. It's a Christmas party. I mean, it's all Christmas shit, you know?
Right. And I mean, for me too, the driving plot of the movie is essentially a man trying to get home to his family for Christmas.
Right.
And I mean, whether that's he's flying from New York to LA to attend a Christmas party that happens to get interrupted by a terrorist attack, it's still a very Christmas oriented theme. And
right.
I've also been of the fact that it takes place at a Christmas party on Christmas Eve, and if they weren't having that party, John McClane wouldn't be going to LA. So no Christmas party, there's no fucking Die Hard.
Right. So Christmas movie. In our humble opinions, we believe it's a Christmas movie.
Right. And I mean, if you don't agree, I feel free to chime in. I'm always curious. Most of the people that we know that watch this movie tend to think that it is a Christmas movie, but if you don't, hit us up on our Facebook page. It's it's Couch Brotato Podcast on Facebook, and it's Couch Brotato Podcast on Instagram too. So feel free to shoot us a message. I'd love to hear from you.
I'm sensing a theme with the name of it.
I think so. Is that what we're called?
As far as I know.
At my advanced age, I forget sometimes.
I've got the COVID clouded memory, so.
Oh, fuck. Well, why are we even doing this? I'm
Where
old,
am
and
I?
you've got COVID brain. This is going to be a fucking nightmare. Well, now that we have established it's a Christmas movie, at least we think so. I think its second legacy is it really changed the way, excuse me, how the action movie in general. Back before this, really, action movies were really the hero was almost like this unstoppable killing machine. He was usually a super jacked, Stallone and Schwarzenegger, Chuck Norris, Chuck Norris isn't a bodybuilder, but fuck, he scares everybody.
Well, he should. I mean, when he does push-ups, the earth goes down instead of him going up.
That's true. But once Die Hard came out, you kind of started to see a shift where it's the everyman becomes the hero. Let's be real. Bruce Willis is starting to lose a little bit of his hair in this. Still manageable, but he looks like if you or I were a cop heading to a Christmas party. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
go
ahead.
I think that's what makes this movie so good is, you feel like, not that you want this to happen, but you feel like if there's, some terrorists taking over a building, you might be able to get in there and help.
That's right. When I watched this as a kid, that's kind of what drew me to this, because this is my all-time favorite action movie. To me, action is my favorite genre, but Die Hard is the top of the mountain for me. And I think that's a lot to do with it, is the fact that it just seems like anybody can be in this situation, and he doesn't even really I mean, like, there's times in the movie where he's like when he jumps off the building, when he's got the fire hose attached to him, and he jumps off the building, like, he's like, fuck, what am I doing? This isn't going to go well. And he still does it anyways. And I just think that like, that to me is one of the biggest selling points to me for this movie.
Well, I mean, and you and I are both parents, and I have a young man on the way, so I feel like we would want to feel like we would be this superhero guy and do whatever it took to protect our family.
Mm-hmm. Right. But yeah, and I think if it wasn't Bruce Willis playing it, I don't know how this would have turned out. But I think that he was just able to capture the everyman.
Oh, he's running around in the jeans and wife beater, so
with no shoes.
With no shoes, because you got to you got to make knuckles on the carpet.
That's right, because that's a calming, gives you a calming effect. I still do that to this day. Like, if times I'm super tense, like, I'll do that with my feet. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't.
I never really thought to do it, but I also, like, I'm one of those weird people where I like to have things on my feet no matter what.
Well, I wear socks all the time, but I've also got gargoyle feet. Like, I could seriously go outside right now and perch up on somebody's roof, and, like, no one would think the different. When I was researching this, it was kind of funny, like, who was up for the role of John McClane. And, like, just some of the names, like, it's almost like of that era is, like, almost a who's who of, like, the top guys in Hollywood, which amazes me that Bruce got it. But let's see, Harrison Ford was offered this, which, like, when I watch this, it kind of gives me a Harrison Ford vibe, but I don't think it's as good of a movie with him in it.
No, but I mean, if you're gonna interchange Bruce Willis with somebody, I think he would be probably the best replacement.
Well, I just don't think that he can pull off the wisecracking that well. Like, Bruce Willis has that you could tell he's a New York City cop. He has that New York attitude. And plus with the wisecracking and stuff, like Harrison Ford, I can't see doing that.
Right.
Let's see, Harrison Ford, Sylvester Stallone, Robert De Niro, Mel Gibson, Nick Nolte, and Burt Reynolds.
Nick Nolte would have just been like, burn the whole fucking building down. I don't care.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
That was actually really good.
Well, I just, he plays the racist, like, he's a racist cop in 48 Hours, which... Yeah. I don't know if you've seen that. It's a really good movie. It's with him and Eddie Murphy. But, yeah, he's racist. I can just imagine him calling, the German terrorists certain names.
Right. And I have seen that movie. It's really good.
It is. Burt Reynolds is also considered for this, which, like, when we've talked about doing other movies before we decide on what we're going to do, and if it's something like like 1985 or like maybe 87, 88 and before, like, Burt Reynolds' name always comes up. Like, he was considered for just about everything.
So he's almost like the William Shatner of the 90s. Just do whatever.
Well, Burt Reynolds was like the fucking man in the 70s. I mean, like, he was the biggest star in the world at one point, but now whenever I think of Burt Reynolds, like, especially like if I'm thinking of him in Die Hard, I only picture the Norm Macdonald impression from Saturday Night Live.
It's funny, in my head I was thinking of that impression.
Yeah, just imagine him, like, just chewing that gum, like, yeah, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. And he, like, just backs off. And then Don Johnson, who was, like, a big TV star, like Bruce Willis was coming into this, which I'll touch on that in a second. And then Richard Dean Anderson, too, MacGyver, was also considered. But if he would have been in it, the movie would have only been like 15 minutes long.
Why is that?
Well, like, like early on when John is, like, running and he ends up going into that room where they're doing the construction, and then Tony comes in.
Yeah.
There's a thermos in there. MacGyver would have used the thermos and maybe like the sawdust from the construction, and he would have built something and would have ended that movie in 15 minutes.
That's fair.
So, well, yeah, Bruce Willis actually was on a TV show during this. I guess like I was researching this. He was filming Moonlighting, the TV show he was on during the day, and then he was doing Die Hard at night. And I guess he got so exhausted that they started, the writers were touching up the script as they were filming the movie. And I guess that the role of Al, who Reginald Vell Johnson plays, and then Dwayne T. Robinson, played by classic asshole actor from the 80s, Paul Gleason.
Uh-huh.
And then the two FBI guys and like a couple other characters, their roles got beefed up to compensate for like them trying to give Bruce Willis a break.
Well, I think that was a good choice. I mean, they don't feel like they're overtaking the movie at all. So
no, and actually, Bruce Willis got paid $5 million to do this, which is crazy for 1987. Well, I guess he would have been cast in 87 or early 88.
Yeah, I read at the time that made him the highest paid actor.
Yeah, it did, and like for that, it's just unheard of. Like they passed on like Stallone to pay a TV actor $5 million to do this.
And you know what? They made the right choice.
That they did. And they also, I think they made the right choice in who they cast as the villain in this.
Right.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I saw there's a Netflix show called The Movies That Made Us. And I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know. I can't fucking think of anything right these days. But he was Alan Rickman was a stage actor, wasn't he?
Yeah, actually, Joel Silver, he was the one of the producers on this, and John McTiernan went to see Dangerous Liaisons. I don't know where they went and seen it at, but Alan Rickman was performing as the villain at Valmont, and once they seen him performing, they immediately, that's the guy that's got to play Hans Gruber. And the fact that, I don't know if you knew this or not, or people listening, but that's Alan Rickman's first movie was Die Hard. He had never been in a movie prior to this.
Well, I think the thing that makes him so good is that the villain is so over the top, almost like a theater actor.
Well, I think, too, that, I mean, he's just so charming. He's not like the typical villain, like up to that point. That, you know, usually it's like, oh, I'm going to fucking kill you, or give me the money, and throwing out ransom notes, or he's going to blow up the world. And like, he just is very calm and calculated. It just, for me anyways, like I have never seen a villain in a movie like that prior to seeing Die Hard.
Well, and see, this, you said this came out in 87, right?
88. It was filmed,
88.
I think it was filmed in late 87 into 88.
Well, then I would have been 1 year old when this came out, so I don't have anything to, a precedence to go on before this, but now, you see in movies the bad guys and the good guys are pretty much mirrored after this movie.
Oh, yeah, like one of the two things that you always see, like that movies like that have copied off Die Hard is, like especially with action movies now, there always seems to be the premise of like it's Die Hard on a blank. Like I know after this came out, like there was Speed is Die Hard on a bus. Cliffhanger is Die Hard on a mountain. There's Passenger 57, Die Hard on an airplane. Toy Soldiers, Die Hard in a prep school. Just all these action movies. Oh, Under Siege is another good one. Die Hard on a battleship.
Yeah, so it's Die Hard on repeat.
And I mean, even now, like to this day, I don't think anybody has really eclipsed Alan Rickman's performance. Like you see tons of copycats that try to do the Hans Gruber villain role. And I really, for me, I don't think anybody's really come close. Maybe maybe John Lithgow and Cliffhanger. Like, he's pretty awesome in that. Like, he's almost to the point where if he ends up stealing the money, I would be okay with it. He gets away with, like, stealing that money. I would have been okay with that. Same with this. Like, you kind of root for McClane, but, like, you know what? If Hans gets away with it, I'm kind of okay with that too.
Right.
But yeah, like I think in terms of like movie villains though, like no one tops Hans Gruber.
So I don't know if this is skipping ahead, but fuck it. This is our podcast. We do whatever we want.
Yeah, and plus we're trying out some new stuff, so I mean it's probably going to be all over the place for a little bit.
Well, I was just thinking about Alan Rickman's character Hans Gruber when he dies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he falls off the building. Well, he actually fell. Like that scene was real. He didn't fall off a building. Obviously, he was in a controlled environment. They had wires.
God, I hope not. Like, how do they bring him back? He's in Harry Potter later on and Galaxy Quest. Like, has he got a twin brother?
Right, but when they let him go and he fell off of this platform they had built, they were supposed to give him a countdown because he was afraid of heights.
Mm-hmm.
And they released him early, so they went 3, 2, and then let him go. So that fear on his face when he's falling off the building is real fear. He's really afraid.
He's looking like, I'm sure he probably shit his pants on the way down.
I would shit my pants, I can tell you that.
Yeah, because didn't you say it was like 70 feet?
It's something ridiculous like that.
Did you know that originally Sam Neill from Jurassic Park was supposed to play Hans Gruber?
I just can't see that working.
No, I mean, I might buy it a little bit if he's got that raptor claw from Jurassic Park and, like, he uses it on somebody, or at least threatens to.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I can buy this now. Like, the first archaeologist, or what's their profession in Jurassic Park? I'm probably going to get murdered by Adam for, like, not a paleontologist?
Paleontologist, yeah.
Okay. Adam's going to cuss me out when he hears this. But yeah, like,
he's going to be like, well, actually, let me tell you what profession that is.
Now he's going to fuck you up now.
I didn't, man, I've been off of work for a little bit, but I didn't know Adam was such the badass.
Yeah, dude, ever since you've been gone, man, he's like got a speed bag in like the corner and like he's doing these weird martial arts moves and I don't know.
Does the Rocky theme constantly play?
No, it's not the Rocky theme. It's some weird like EMD song playing. It's like, John Wick 2 when like him and Common are in that nightclub. It's kind of like that.
Oh, okay.
And he's just locked in. I was like, I don't even know this person now. But yeah, like outside of that though, like I couldn't see anybody else playing Hans either. And he actually parlayed that into a pretty good career. I mean, it's kind of hard to believe that I don't even think that Hans Gruber is Alan Rickman's most iconic role. I mean, when you really think about it, I mean, I would say either people will associate him as Hans or as Snape from Harry Potter.
Well, I think associating him with Snape is more because
Harry
Potter was more international and more for kids. So,
well, yeah, and I think it's one of the top 10 movie franchises of all time in terms of like how much it made at the box office too. I mean,
yeah, it's not one of my movies that I like to movie series that I go to, but I understand why people like it so much.
Mm-hmm. Well, when did you get introduced to Die Hard?
I really don't remember. I haven't really seriously remembered watching it until I was an adult, but I'm sure I saw it when I was younger. Mm-hmm. When we would borrow HBO.
Oh, when the Time Warner would just like, hey, let me borrow the lawnmower. I'll give you HBO for a week. Yeah,
exactly. Well, actually, it was Continental Cablevision back then.
Oh, damn, that is right.
So,
I remember when I seen this for the first time. I wasn't allowed to watch rated R movies when this came out. and I remember I was at my grandparents' house, and my grandpa had HBO. And I don't know if you remember this or not, but they used to send you every month the little paper guides that told you everything that was going to be on HBO for the month. It was like
I don't remember that, no. I remember TV guides. Was it kind of like that?
Well, it was kind of like TV Guide, but it just gave you like the time. And this is well before you had HBO, HBO East, HBO West, like 12 different HBO channels.
Yeah, this was just strictly HBO.
Right. And it used to give you like, okay, at like 4 o'clock, you're going to have Terms of Endearment. 6:30 is going to be, I don't know, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. 8 o'clock Die Hard. Well, I remember my grandpa's flipping through this guide, and he noticed that HBO had a double feature. It was Die Hard, and then right after that was RoboCop. And they used to, at the very back of it, they would give you like a breakdown of the movies they had on that month, and it'd give you like a brief synopsis. And I remember my grandpa reading like New York City cop foils a terrorist plot, and he was like, well, it looks like we're watching that. And then I remember him reading the description for RoboCop, and he goes, Robot Cop? All right. And I just remember my mom coming home, like she sees us watching RoboCop, and it's the scene where that guy is trying to, like, he tries to assault that woman, and then he's got the knife up to her throat, and RoboCop just shoots this guy right through this woman's dress and just hits this guy in the nuts. I was just like,
I'm sure she was thrilled.
Yeah, and I just like between seeing Die Hard and RoboCop, I'm like, I think that's one of the reasons why I'm such a fan of movies now. Like that, like nobody could beat that double feature as a kid.
That's a pretty killer double feature.
But, well, I mean, like Lucas, you got anything to add before we're gonna do something on these episodes where we kind of whatever we don't cover in the facts. We'll just kind of rattle off some like interesting facts. You can tell it, the doctor's office at a dinner party. If you happen to get pulled over for speeding, whatever. You can pull these out of your hat to pass the time.
Do they even have to be real?
No. I mean, these facts are real, but you can make up stuff too. But
well, I was gonna say the only thing I can really add is. I appreciate how Die Hard, like we were saying earlier, kind of made it feel like we could all be superheroes and protect our family from danger. And it's just such a good movie, and I watch it every Christmas.
Yeah.
Because, like we said, to us it's a Christmas movie, and it never gets old.
I just find it's funny over the last, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years, how its legacy has kind of changed from being, one of the top action movies of the 80s to where, I mean, I remember just this year alone, I don't know if it's the pandemic is kind of like, and people are shut in, like they just want to argue on the internet a lot more. But like, I just seen countless posts and like people arguing about whether this is a Christmas movie or not. I find that so fascinating that it's now considered more of a Christmas classic than it is like an iconic action movie.
And it's funny how that stuff works. How things, come full circle, and all of a sudden this movie is super popular again.
Yeah, I mean, I'll watch it anytime though. Like I watched it during the holidays. I watched it twice to prepare for this episode that we are just now able to do. But then, like, it's one of those ones where, like, I have a collection of, like, maybe 10 or 12 movies that if I ever see them on TV, it doesn't matter what point of the movie I'm at, I'm locked in. Die Hard's one of those, like, it could be, like, the scene where, and this is, like, my two favorite scenes in the movie are the sequence on the roof when, like, the FBI guys are trying to they're trying to shoot John McClane because they think he's one of the terrorists, and like the building blows up, and that whole scene. And then it's also the scene where John finds Hans, and then Hans pretends to be like one of the hostages.
Oh no, You're one of them.
No, please, God, no. No, don't kill me. Don't kill me, please. But yeah, this is the most that we ever have acted. Right. Well, actually, I think now that the Oscars, it used to be the cutoff was Christmas Day, but now they extended it to April. I might submit that.
I think we're in.
I mean, like, I'll settle for a Best Supporting Actor nomination. So, and that's another thing, real quick, before we go into the fun facts deep dive. But I don't understand why Alan Rickman didn't get an Oscar nomination for this.
I don't know. Do you know offhand what he was up against that year?
I don't know everybody that was nominated, but I know the year that this came out, Kevin Kline won for A Fish Called Wanda, which is an awesome performance. I can't argue with him winning, but I know Alan Rickman didn't even get a nomination, which is a fucking crime.
Yeah, that's terrible. But you know how Hollywood views action movies.
Well, I think too in the 80s it was just if you think about like the best movies of the 80s, you typically don't think of the movies that won like the awards.
Yeah.
Like you take like I don't know, like I don't think it's one of the best movies of the 90s, but you take something like Braveheart. A lot of people that's easily on like one of their top 10 lists at one Best Picture, but like I would probably rank something like I don't know, like Fight Club. Like Fight Club never got any awards. Like I love Fight Club 10 times more than I do Braveheart. I even like Apollo 13 was nominated that same year. If Apollo 13's on, I watch it every time. Braveheart, I don't know. I have to be in a mood.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I really like Braveheart, although it was kind of beaten to death over my head by my sister and my mom because they thought Mel Gibson was hot in that.
All this must have been before he went crazy.
Oh, yeah. It was before he started, making movies about Jesus and insulting, everybody.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I think that like, especially in that era, like Hollywood got it. Because I think like you just look at like Best Picture winners like Gandhi, The Last Emperor. I think Empire of the Sun wasn't a Best Picture winner. But like when I think of the 80s, like Ghostbusters, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Back to the Future, those are like the best movies of that era. Those are the movies that are going to leave the lasting impact. Die Hard's another one. So, well, do you want to list off the quick facts, or do you want me to go ahead and knock it out?
Well, I can name a few. The Nakatomi Plaza is a real building.
Yeah, it was the 20th Century Fox Studios, their corporate office.
And it was actually under construction, so they had to use like a couple floors upstairs and a couple like down at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, actually, Fox paid themselves to use that building, which I find to be funny.
Yeah, can you imagine? Like, oh, here's $1. Well, thank you for the $1. I will take that and I will use it.
I will gladly buy this hamburger today and pay you back Tuesday. I don't know why I just threw a really bad wimpy impression at you, but fuck it, it's 9:30 at night.
Yeah, who gives a shit? The scene where John McClane's falling down the ventilation shaft was actually an accident.
Mm-hmm.
And they ended up keeping it in the movie.
Yeah. I remember I was reading about that. Yeah, they thought he was supposed to catch the opening the first time and he missed it, and they thought it was such a cool shot they kept it, which it is. It works so much better because it's like, oh fuck, he's gonna die.
Right. You look at that and you think that he probably is.
Mm-hmm.
This is a new one that I hadn't seen before. Did you know Bruce Willis suffered permanent hearing loss?
I did not know that until let's be real. We get at least I get a lot of my facts from IMDb, their app. And I didn't even know that until I'm scrolling through here to cherry pick some good ones that you may not get to. And I just come across that.
Yeah, that's crazy. I guess, let me see, what does it say? 2/3 of partial hearing loss in his left ear.
Really?
Yeah, which that's a lot of hearing loss, especially like considering the concerts that you and I have been to, where we have lost hearing. So,
well, going forward, if anybody like says to me like fuck, you're so hard of hearing, like I'm not Bruce Willis hard of hearing.
That's going to be the new baseline.
Yeah, and if they don't know what I'm talking about, I'll just listen to our episode. Just listen to the Die Hard episode. You'll know what I'm talking about.
One more thing that I don't have on here, but it's something I kind of remember from watching that documentary on Netflix. Was they, the scenes with the guns, they were real guns, and they used blank bullets, but it was so loud that the offices at 20th Century Fox in that building, in the Nakatomi building, they had to it was actually interrupting some of the workflow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess that would make sense. Like Pam, the secretary, is just typing something up, and she just hears like just gunfire rattling off.
Right. So, what do you got, Russ?
First one I thought was kind of cool. Bonnie Bedelia. She plays Holly McClane, John's wife. She is the aunt of the Culkins. So her brother is Macaulay Culkin's dad.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I remember you saying something about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that would have been like a really cool, like for Die Hard 3, like Kevin gets left home alone again. And miraculously, like, they don't take him away from his parents, but like he teams up with John McClane and they set booby traps like in a subway or in an abandoned house, and they have to take on Hans Gruber's brother and the Wet Bandits again.
Now, listen, admittedly, being a parent is really hard, and having that many kids would be equally as hard, as the McAllisters. But losing your kid kind of makes you a shitty parent. We can agree on that, right?
Yeah, I think if they would have had like what are those little squares that are out, like tile?
Yeah, like the little tile thing.
Yeah, just glue it, just glue it to them.
Just buzz them whenever they can't find them.
Right. Yeah, just like glue it to him or buzz him like, hey, well, there he is. He's upstairs. The director of photography on this is Jan de Bont. And if that name sounds familiar to any action fans, he went on to direct Die Hard on a Bus, Speed, and he directed Twister.
Oh, very cool.
And he directed the shitty Speed 2, Cruise Control, but we won't talk about that.
God, that movie. I remember, so this is funny. So we used to have our mall here in our city where we live, which, is more of like a flea market these days.
That's being generous, but.
And I remember there was a electronics store called Rex.
Yep, my mom bought her first big TV, and she was high on the hog after that. She thought she was upper class.
The first time I saw that movie, Speed Cruise Control, was actually sitting in Rex waiting for my parents to buy something.
Really?
And I remember watching that movie thinking, what the fuck is this? This movie sucks.
Yeah, I wonder how many customers they lost. It's almost like the Michael McDonald video in The 40-Year-Old Virgin. That's Rex's version of Speed 2 Cruise Control. And I bet there's an employee there just like went fucking crazy and quit.
Play this movie one more fucking time.
Let's see. Yeah, we already touched on Bruce Willis, his exhaustion from filming Moonlighting at the same time. This movie was selected in 2017 by the National Film Registry for being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant.
Oh,
good job, Library of Congress.
Makes sense, yeah.
The last one I got, and I thought this was a little fascinating, is a lot of the German that is spoken in this movie is not actual German. It's German gibberish. The only actor who actually speaks German in this is Hans Gruber.
Huh.
Oh, the last one too. Carl, who's played by Alexander Goodenough. And this still blows my mind that he is actually, well, unfortunately, he's passed away. He was a world-class ballet dancer. I almost called him a ballerina. But yeah, he was a world-class ballet dancer.
Yeah, I remember seeing something about that, and like that kind of helps him in his fight scenes.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it makes sense. It's just like with a professional wrestler. I mean, they have to be very graceful too, but it just blows my mind that a ballet dancer, like, I don't know if they used like shooting angles to make him look tall, but Carl looks like he's at least 6'4".
And he might be, because he's a European ballet dancer.
Right.
Maybe they're super tall. I don't know.
And what's funny is there was actually another a Russian ballet dancer. His name was Mikhail Baryshnikov.
Uh-huh.
He was also making movies in the 80s too. He made an action movie with Gregory Hines. I think it was called Running Scared. I could be totally wrong with that. But yeah, he was in an 80s action movie too. So
you would know better than I would.
That's pretty much all I got. I mean, we kind of went over most of the stuff in our conversation. So I think that's going to be a wrap. I don't know, unless you have any final thoughts before we depart tonight.
Well, I do. I have one more fact.
Okay, go ahead.
You know that Bruce Willis really wasn't on the posters for the movie at first?
Oh, yeah, I do remember seeing this.
Because people actually hated the idea of Bruce Willis being in an action movie. Like when the trailer came out, I believe it was, audiences actually booed every time that Bruce Willis was on screen.
Yeah, I remember seeing that in that Netflix special.
Yeah.
And little did they know they were getting ready to see one of the greatest action movies of all time.
Stupid asses. That's what you get for booing.
Yeah, he showed you.
But, beyond that, I don't really have anything to add. I mean, if anybody listening to this has never seen Die Hard, for one, shame on you.
Mm-hmm.
And for two, they need to remedy that very quickly.
Well, they can. They can watch it. Right now it's on HBO Max, which they just got added to Roku right before Christmas. And then Amazon just recently added them. I know they're on Apple TV. I think they're on Chromecast. But, I mean, you can get I think they did away with the 7-day free trials. But, I mean, it's $15 a month for access to a lot of cool movies and Game of Thrones.
Including the new Wonder Woman, which I still haven't seen. But, it's a major Hollywood movie that is released on a streaming site. So,
Well, I won't get into that. I've watched it. I won't give my opinion. Maybe we'll save that for the Wonder Woman 1984 episode that we'll do hopefully 15 years down the road.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, that's a wrap for this episode. Please, if you listen to us on Apple, please leave us a review. Reviews are great feedback for us, so we kind of know what we're doing right, what we need to improve on. Plus, it helps Apple, like if people are searching for like a movie podcast, it helps our podcast get thrown into those results a lot sooner than somebody having to scroll through like 80 or 90 different movie podcast titles. You also, please feel free to follow us on Facebook. We're Couch Brotato Podcast. Instagram, the same. But yeah, please hit us up. We hope you guys like the new format. Please let us know, like, just the feedback we were getting from analytics. It kind of seemed like this is probably the way we needed to go. But the watch-along episodes are not dead. We're just going to make them special events. Go ahead, Lucas.
I just wanted to add one thing. This is kind of a personal note, and I don't want this to be like a political thing, because this is not political at all. But like I said at the beginning of this, I have COVID-19, and it is the worst virus I've ever had in my life. And so I'm asking you people, please wear a mask. please socially distance. You do not want this. The cough is awful. The fever is awful. The fatigue is awful. I fell asleep on my kitchen floor making dinner one night because I was so tired. Just please be safe.
Yeah, I echo that sentiment too. Just please be safe and think of you, not just yourself, but other people as well. So, yeah, like, stay safe out there, gang. We want you to keep listening. And I want my friend to get better too, so.
Yeah.
For selfish reasons as well. All right, Lucas. Well, until next time, I'm Russ. And
I'm Lucas, and Russ, has been great talking to you again, my friend. I've missed you.
I have too, man. It's good to have you back in the saddle again, man. But we'll see you guys next time. Talk at you later.